Hey, what's up everyone? This is Draco the Psychic here, and today, actually at the time of this recording, tomorrow is my birthday, so yeah, August the 16th. Anyways, I got with you a Traptrix deck profile with a new redneck camera positioning. Like I'm not gonna show y'all. Anyways, so yeah, this is my Traptrix deck profile that I took to locals tonight at the time of recording this, and I topped 5th out of 14 people, scored 5th place, and won three packs. One of those 3 packs, hold on for just a second. One of those cards was a Get Out, so yeah, that is really nice. I also picked up 2 network trap holes. I might play that in my next game, or my next time I go to locals. So anyways, let's get this started with the Traptrix deck, shall we? Alright, starting off, we run 3 Mermellos and 3 Traptrix Mantas, sorry. Not only do they start with the letter M, but they also are basically stratos of the deck. Mermello over here searches your bottomless trap hole, sorry. Your whole normal cards from your deck to your hand, and Mantis searches your Traptrix monsters from deck to hand. She can also search herself, which is really interesting, but I never done that for some reason. I mean, I rather search the other Traptrix, which we'll get in later. Not only that, each Traptrix have a second ability where if Traptrix Mermello is normal summon, she can it's a mandatory effect. You have to, it doesn't say you can. So when it's special summon, you target a spell or trap your opponent controls and destroy it. It's a free pop. So yeah, really, really nice to have that free pop. And Mantis over here allows you to, as a quick effect, she can return one of your face down spell and traps back to your hand, and then you have the option to set another one. But I really don't usually do that a lot, unless sometimes that card is it is sometimes crucial. So yeah, 3 Mantas, 3 Mermellos. Next up, I got 3 Traptrix Dioneas. Now Traptrix Dionea over here is the monster reborn of the deck. She basically special summons a Traptrix monster from your graveyard in defense mode. And not only that, she has another effect where if she is special summoned, you can target a whole normal trap in your graveyard and set it to your field, but it gets banished if it's still there during the end phase of your next turn. So that's why Mantis is really good, because you can use Mantis effect to bounce your card back to the hand, so that way you can reset it, and therefore it doesn't get banished. However, though, you do have to wait another turn to use that trap card. And for the last Traptrix monster I'm running is Traptrix Nepenthes. Nepenthes allows us to get more Traptrix monsters out of our deck. Yeah, each time a whole normal trap is activated, or I think it's only when yeah, if only you activate the whole normal trap, her effect goes off, where you can either add a Traptrix monster from your deck to your hand or special summon that Traptrix. It's a hard once per turn, but it's really, really good to keep getting advantage for no reason. Last monsters we run is 2 Ash Blossoms and Joyous Spring. Sorry for that huge glare. I'm still trying to find ways to do deck profiles. Otherwise, I'm going to have to do them online, and people are not going to watch them because, ew, he's using, like, he doesn't have ultimate rare cards. We don't know if he has them. And to tell you this, no, I don't have ultimate rares. I'm not a rarity whore. Alright, for spells, we run 1 double or nothing. This is just basically the auto win card. And I actually did this a lot at my locals. Like, I finished 2 games with double or nothing, even when I didn't get to go first. If you want to know what my matchups are, I'll put them in the description down below to show you my matchups, and I'll explain those matchups in a different video. Alright, that's it for the spells. We only run one because, you know, this is a trap deck, not a spell deck. This is Traptrix Control. Anyways, for the whole traps, we run 1 Bottomless, 2 Time Space Trapples, and 2 Traptrix Trapple Nightmare. Now, I did slide this out, however, for the true Draco matchup, but that was okay. I had reason. So, we have here a Bottomless Trap Hole. When your opponent summons a monster with 1500 more attack, you destroy the monster and then it gets banished. The reason why I don't like to run multiple copies of these is just because, like, you know, even though it can happen on any summon, it first destroys the monster. So, therefore, there are some cards out there that have a destruction immunity, and therefore they're unaffected by the first effect of a Bottomless Trap Hole. So even though it banishes, it still destroys first. And one of my matchups was like a Blue Eyes Chaos Max Dragon deck. It was like a pure variant. Next, I actually went against 2 Blue Eyes White Dragon decks. 1 Ritual, 1 Pure, or Synchro variant. Next up, I got the Time Space Trap Hole. One of the best cards to use in this format as of right now, because if your opponent special summons any number of monsters from their hand or extra deck, they go back into the deck. But for each one that was shuffled, you lose 1,000 life points. That doesn't. The life points, it doesn't really matter that much. All that matters is just that all that matters is just that it's non-targeting, non-destruction removal, which is really, really nice. And it can slow down your opponent a lot. Next up, we got Traptrix Trapple Nightmare. Actually, you know what? Keep the gold rare out in front because gold rare is better. So, Traptrix Trapple Nightmare, when your opponent activates the effect of a monster that was special summoned this turn, you negate that effect and destroy it. This is really good against stuff like the Nightmares because they always have effects when they link summon. So if you use this against like something like Mermaid or Cerebus, if you get rid of the Cerebus first, then you can slow them down a lot. Yeah, so anyways, that's it for the traps, or the whole normal traps, sorry. Alright, on to the rest of the traps. I'm sorry, but this is a proxy right here. This was 3 Infinite Impermanence. If you don't know Infinite Impermanence, you target an effect monster your opponent controls, negate its effects until the end of this turn. Also negate the the effect of spell and trap cards that were activated in the same column as the card it was when it was set. So therefore, if you set it in the middle column, you activate it and negate their monster effects, and they activate a spell or trap in that card's column. Then for the rest of that turn, for this turn, it gets negated. So yeah, the reason why they're proxies is because my friend let me borrow 3 copies of his Infinite Impermanence. I will thank you for that. I don't want to release your name because I don't want to like give out IRL names. So yeah, shout outs to you, man. You were awesome. It did help me a lot. And also you can activate it from your hand if you have no cards. Anyways, because I'm unable to afford Infinite Impermanence, I was able to afford Traptrix. I did trade my Appaloosa for a Traptrix, for a playset of Traptrix, which was really epic. So if you don't know what Traptrix does, it basically banishes a normal trap from your deck, and you set a card from your deck with the same name as the banished card to your spell or trap zone, and that card can be activated that turn. However, for the rest of this turn after this card resolves, you can only activate 1 more trap. So if you activate any other traps in response to Traptrix, you still got that 1 more trap to activate. So therefore, you can get away with that. And the rest of this deck, I'll show you the good Traptrix targets. All right, so Traptrix targets, we got Compulse, Torrential Tribute, Heavy Storm Duster, Stormy Mirror Force, and the Lost Wind. So all these cards, these are really good Traptrix targets. Probably Lost Wind, not really, but not grade A Traptrix target, but the rest of these are really good. Compulse, I know no one's have seen this card before in their life because it wasn't relevant. you just target a monster on the field and return it to the hand. It's really good non-destruction removal, and it can bounce the extra deck monsters back into the deck, slowing the opponent more. Torrential Tribute, when a monster is summoned Dark Hole. Heavy Storm Duster, a free Twin Twister, but you have to skip your battle phase. But it doesn't really matter since you activate Traptrix on their end phase, and then you just get rid of the rest of their back row. Storing Mirror Force, I did run into this situation a lot. So basically, what happened is that if they enter battle phase, you can activate Traptrix and set a Storing Mirror Force, and now they have to make, and then now they're like, you're now either committed to this Storing Mirror Force or whatever trap you have. Because remember, you can only activate one more trap after the resolution of Traptrix. And so if they want to attack, that's fine. Storing Mirror Force is going to use its effect. And then Lost Wind right here, basically permanently negates the effect of a special summon monster and half its attack. This is all permanent. And if your opponent special summons a monster from the extra deck, you can reset this card from your graveyard, but it gets banished when it leaves the field. So, really, really nice. More monster negation. More, and not only that, since this deck doesn't really have high attack monsters, it's really nice to drop that attack power really, really low. Next up, I run the 3 Phantom Knights of Shade Brigandine. I know this is an out of left field card, but trust me, it works. I'll show you the reason why. And for our last cards, these are counter traps, the 2 Solemn Strikes and the 1 Judgment. Basically, if I had 2 more Judgment, I would always want to play 3 Judgments, because spell and traps that would that will delete my spell and trap cards are not good. I would definitely play 3 Judgment, but at the time, I have my Solemn Strikes that my mom pulled from the Megatons. Anyways, alright, on to the extra deck. We got 3 Traptrix Sarah. This came out of the Battles of the Legend, Hero's Revenge. This is a really, really good card for the Traptrix. It really makes Traptrix be more of a control deck. So, if you don't know what Traptrix Sarah is, then I will happily read its effect. So first up, this card is unaffected by trap effects. So that means if you Torrential Tributes, you can get rid of everything. You can just like blow up the board, but Sarah is unaffected by that, so that means Sarah can stay. And she has 2 effects where one, if a normal trap is activated, even if your opponent activates a trap card that's a normal trap, you can special summon a Traptrix monster from your deck with a different name from the other Traptrix cards you control. So that means if you have a Murmello on field, you cannot summon Murmello with this effect because it needs a different name. So that's why during your combo, during the times when you're going off, you always want to make sure that you might want to go into Xyz or another link just to make sure about that. And her second effect is, if another Traptrix monster activates his effect, you can set a whole normal trap straight from your deck. So this is really nice. Being a Link 1 is really, really good, because otherwise then we need to rely on Dionea. And then that's not what Traptrix are. Alright, next up I run 2 of the Nightmares, Nightmare Phoenix, Nightmare Cerberus. This is just to pop cards and to pop special summon monsters in the main monster zone. What is really nice though is that they have link markers that point upward. So that means if you link summon them and then you have Sarah on board, you can instantly discard and draw a card while destroying a card they control. And then the Nightmares will give them the protection effect, which is really, really awesome. So yeah, if Proxy Dragon makes it back into the meta, we could probably extra link with Traptrix, would be really, really funny. Yeah, so Phoenix would grant Sarah battle immunity, and Cerberus will give her card destruction immunity, which is really, really nice. And like I said, if you activate the effects while they're co-linked with Sarah, you can draw you can draw one card, and that could be a bit of draw power for the deck. And I never made this card. It's just filler at the moment. Sword Dragon, never really made this. There's another win condition in this deck that I'll talk about. Alright, for the Xyz, I run one Traptrix Rafflesia. Rafflesia isn't really like the most go-to card I would do. However, though, she is there to like seal games. So there was another monster I make in this deck, but I'll explain why later. So yeah. Anyways, while she's unaffected by traps while she has Xyz material, she protects all other Traptrix monsters from battle, destruction, and targeting. Once per turn, as a quick effect, you can detach in Foolish Burial a whole normal trap from your deck. One which it meets a condition. So if your opponent summons a monster with 1500 or more attack, you can detach and send a Bottomless from deck to grave, and Rafflesia becomes the Bottomless trap hole, which is really, really nice. She's basically an additional trap hole. And that's a 2500 wall. And that 2500 wall actually kind of saved me during the True Draco matchup. Anyways, next up, I run one win button, two win buttons, and my god, I'm looking at the camera right now, and that is the worst glare of all. Like, seriously. So, Utopia Double, Utopia Double was like the main play of the deck. Like, seriously, this deck cannot OTK for crap while controlling game state. But I didn't make Lightning, but Lightning's just there just in case you run into Infinity, so you can do that. And basically just make sure that you can just take the game. Alright, now for the rest of the generic Xyz, I run one Abyss Dweller. Really good against Orcas, so you know you can delete their graveyard. One Castle, just fancy removal. One Tornado Dragon, one for the mirror match, and you know, just to make sure that my opponent's not pulling any funny floodgates against me. My opponent is going to be running a stun deck, and I'm going to make sure that my stun deck wins against the stun deck. That it actually happened, the True Draco matchup, I will say that. And then one Baguska. Baguska is really, really good against decks that do hard, heavy hitting. And, they're, you know, just like, oh, I can't be targeted by card effects. Well, guess what? I'll just summon this in defense and then just win the game. Alright. Now, for our last extra deck monster, one Time Thief Redoer. Now, let me explain myself. This is a combo. There is a combo in this deck that you can end off with a Redoer or a Traptrix Rafflesia, your choice. I mean, if you're a budget player, you can play Traptrix Rafflesia because Time Thief Redoer is insanely expensive. So basically, once per turn during the standby phase, if you don't know what this does, you can attach the top card of your deck, of your opponent's deck, to this card as Xyz material, and as a hard once per turn and a quick effect, you can detach up to 3 types of materials from this card and apply the following effects based on which one was detached. So if you detach a monster, it gets banished until the end phase. If it's a spell, you draw a card, and if it's a trap, you place one face-up card your opponent controls to the top of the deck. Really, really nice non-targeting, non-destruction removal here. This is just an extra disruption. Yeah, and anyways, now let me just show you my side deck real quick. So my side deck is a bit interesting because, you know, I didn't really go into it that much most of the time, but alright, so two artifact sides because I'm playing the Sanctums. 2 Drolls. I did side this in against a Blue Eyes matchup, the Ritual version. Ghost Ogre and Snow Rabbit, basic, just more hand traps. 2 Twin Twister, just to get rid of floodgates faster. 3 Artifact Sanctums, so I can get them faster. 2 Chain Holes. Now let me explain Chain Hole for a second. So if you don't know what Chain Hole does, first up, it's a whole normal trap. So every Traptrix monster can work with this. So when your opponent, let me just read this, I can't see it. So when your opponent activates a monster effect in response to a card or effect activation, you negate that opponent's effect. Then your opponent can banish one card from their hand or deck with the same original name as that negated card. But if they don't, you can banish a random card from their hand. So this is basically a Called by the Grave for Traptrix. And if I have Traptrix, then this is literally a Called by the Grave. Just for the fact that, if your opponent tries to Ash, you can use Chain Hold to negate that Ash. And then they can either banish another Ash or they lose a card from their hand, which would be another card. Yeah, really, really nice. And for the last cards, I run 2 red reboots. If I had a 3rd red reboot, I would probably run it. But I didn't go against anything stun other than True Draco, so if I go against another Traptrix mirror, I can definitely use red reboot for this. Negates a trap, sets it back down, and your opponent can set another trap card from their deck, but for the rest of this turn, the trap cards your opponent cannot activate trap cards. Really, really nice negation for trap decks. Alright, now with that being said, let's get on to the combo. Alright, now let me explain this combo. Alright, so for this combo, you're going to need a Traptrix Marmello or a Phantom Knights of Shade Brigandine. You can also, if you have Mantis, you can do this as well. But it's just a Traptrix card. If you have a Traptrix monster, you can do this combo really, really easily. But it's recommended that you have the ones that can do something on normal summon on first turn. So let me explain this. Alright, so what you're going to want to do is that you're going to want to summon your Traptrix Mantis. Or no, not Mantis. Marmello. Marmello is going to search a bottomless trap hole, if I can find it. Where is it? Shoot, probably should not have shuffled. Okay. Alright, there you go. You got your bottomless trap hole in your hand. Next, you're going to link off Marmello for a Sarah. Now, with Sarah on board, you can now do this. You can set your Phantom Knights of Shade Brigandine, activate the Phantom Knights of Shade Brigandine to special summon it. Sarah effects, I'm getting ahead of myself, can then summon a Traptrix Mantis from the deck. You're going to want to do Mantis because Mantis can do something with value instead of just like, Marmello auto-activate pop, that kind of stuff. Alright, so with Mantis, you're going to want to set your bottomless trap hole. Mantis effect is to bounce it back. And then you're going to do Sarah's effect to set another hole. If they have an extra deck, it would be wise to place down the space-time trap hole. So you're gonna set your one card, your 2 cards, and then you're gonna overlay for a Time Thief Redoer. So now you're gonna be taking your opponent's cards, and you got a trap attached to Time Thief Redoer. So that way you can it's another disruption. But, however, though, if you want the protection variant, you can also do Traptrix Rafflesia. You could just go into any Xyz monster at that point, because Sarah and Phantom Knights of Shade Brigandine and Marmello is basically a 2-card Xyz, basically. Yeah, but it's either I do the Rafflesia or the Redoer. Redoer can give you another disruption. Rafflesia gives off protection and limited disruption. So, yeah. Alright, thank you guys so much for sticking around to watch this deck profile. If you guys liked it, please hit that thumbs up button, leave a like down below. Comment down below what would you like to see next. Comment Trap Lolis for Traptrix replays. However, though, that one is a bit changed because if my friend wasn't going to give me the Infinite Impermanence for the tournament, I would have had to work with Effect Veilers, 2 Effect Veilers, and a 3rd Compulse. And I kind of did not want to do that. However, though, I do have 3 breakthrough skills with me, so I guess I can try and work with that. Anyways, hope you guys like this. I already said that. Also, consider subscribing to the channel. Can we reach 150 likes? Or, no, not likes. Subscribers. Can we reach 150 subscribers? I'm kind of tired at the moment. Yeah, and I'm going to be making a couple changes to this deck, especially with the new cards I got, Network, Truffle, and Get Out. So, yeah, anyways, I'll see you guys in the next episode. Peace.